The witness of ancient wisdom today is from Matthew, Romans, Hebrews, and 1 John. Love God, love your neighbor. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Welcome one another, therefore, just as Christ has welcomed you, for the glory of God. Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by so doing, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. Beloved, let us love one another, because love is from God. Everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. The Witness of Modern Wisdom by Sidney D. Fowler. In gratitude, because God welcomes us, we are called to make bold stands. In behalf of and along with those who remain oppressed, suffering, alienated, and poor in God's world, we speak and act. It's not an extravagant welcome to an anything-goes religion, a comfortable form of Christianity, but to a costly form of discipleship, writes John Thomas, the former president and general minister of the UCC. Thomas calls this kind of discipleship evangelical courage. It's the other side of the extravagant welcome coin. You see this risky faith expressed throughout our history that at times has been hidden. Inspired by God's gift of hospitality, we work for God's welcoming world of love and justice. God is still speaking.
And we are still listening.
Thanks be to God.
Will you pray with me? Merciful God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our help and our Redeemer. Amen. Today's message is a little shorter than usual to make time for a special offering from our Extravagant welcoming team in just a moment. But first, let me share a short story about extravagant welcome. This is a story about a young man named Bill. Bill's trademark was his big, wild mess of hair. Bill's preferred uniform, a t-shirt with holes in it, jeans with cutoffs and holy knees, no shoes. This was his everyday uniform throughout his 3+ years of college. He was bright, some would say even brilliant. He was curious by nature. He asked great questions about science and philosophy and ethics. It was on campus that he became acquainted with Christianity for the first time. He had almost no exposure to religion at home, and so he was eager to learn more. Well, across the street from campus was a church with well-kept lawns and well-dressed people. They leaned towards the conservative. But for a long time, they had wanted to develop a campus ministry to the students. They just weren't exactly sure on how to do it. One Sunday, Bill decides to visit this church. He walks in, as usual, barefoot, jeans torn, t-shirt with holes, wild hair, face unshaven. He's even a few minutes casually late. The service has already started. He starts down the aisle looking for a seat, but he can't find one. There are no seats on the aisle. And so he keeps walking further down. All the seats are taken. And people begin to notice. They begin to notice his shirt, his bare feet, his hair. And you can tell they're beginning to feel a little uncomfortable, but no one says anything. And still looking for a seat, Bill gets right down close to the pulpit. And when he realizes there are no seats to be found, he decides to just sit down, squat-legged there on the carpet to enjoy the service. By now, you can feel the tension in the air. And at this time, the minister looks out and notices there is a deacon slowly making his way forward to Bill. He's in his 80s, has silver gray hair, wears a jacket and tie almost every Sunday. He's a man of deep faith, somewhat formal, and he walks with a cane, which you can hear clicking as he makes his way down to the front of the sanctuary. And as he starts towards Bill, everyone thinks to themselves, well, someone has to talk to him. And how would someone his age or background understand a barefoot college kid sitting cross-legged on the floor anyways? But it takes him a little time to reach the student, and all eyes are focused on him, and you can't even hear anyone breathing. And the minister can't preach until the deacon does what he has to do. And now they see this elderly man drop his cane on the floor, and with some difficulty lower himself down to the carpet and sit next to Bill through the service so that he won't have to be alone. And a wave of emotion floods over the room. And the minister looks up and smiles and begins to speak, then stops, unsure of what to say, and finally says, "What I'm about to preach you will never remember, but what you've just seen you will never forget." This is a story about extravagant welcome. It's about seeing the church at its best, welcoming those who have been brought our way. I share this not because it's happened here, but I've seen it happen here in many ways, time and again. The spirit of this welcome. Now, this is a friendly church. It's a very welcoming church. People feel a warmth when they walk through those doors. It's a beautiful thing. But people feel that welcome even before they come here into our sanctuary. I can't tell you how many times a visitor has come by and I've asked them, well, how did you find us? And they said, well, I saw your sign out front. I saw the banners. And I love that you welcome all people. This seems like the kind of church that I could be a part of. I share this to say that words matter, which is why over the year we have been doing some reflection on our vision and our mission statements, those words that we hold most dear. And we'll share that discernment a little later at our congregational meeting, but we boldly proclaim that we are a community of extravagant welcome because we believe God is a God of extravagant welcome. It's not just to be inclusive, but it's because God and God's love are inclusive. From our witness of spirit, John Thomas says, "In gratitude, God welcomes us, and we are called to make bold stands in behalf of and along with those who remain oppressed, suffering, alienated, and poor in God's world. We speak and act." He goes on to say it's about extravagant welcome. It's not an anything-goes religion, but a costly form of discipleship. He talks about evangelical courage. That's a lowercase e. Evangelical courage, sharing this good news, this radical hospitality, this extravagant welcome. Words matter, yes. And as any voter in an election year can tell you, talk is cheap, right? It's our actions that truly reveal what we really believe. In our Bible study, we were talking about how lots of churches have signs that say all are welcome. I think most genuinely believe that to be true of their community. But I have heard some stories. A visitor who shows up and parked in someone else's designated spot. Came into the sanctuary and sat in someone else's pew. Showed up and couldn't find a bathroom for them, or couldn't physically access the fellowship hall, which is right now the case in our sanctuary. We have a lift that the door is not quite working. They couldn't find a place to nurse a fussy infant, or they got the side eye from someone else when their fidgety kid made noise during the prayer. Maybe there wasn't a thing of interest for their teenager. Or maybe The words to the Lord's Prayer were different than they were used to. We do all kinds of things to help people feel welcome in this space, from the ramp and the rails to the hearing system, to the ways we practice community intentionally. And I am proud of this community for our extravagant welcome. We don't just say, whoever you are, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We strive to live that out, week in and week out. Imperfectly sometimes, but we do. As the pastor and teacher of this congregation, it's my job to ask questions about how we can continue growing in our faith and in our witness. It's my job to ask, well, you all are here, but who isn't here? Who might we be missing? Who in our community hasn't felt the extravagant love and welcome of God and needs to? Sometimes I've wondered, we have a campus just a few blocks away from here with PCC students and Pacific University students. Sometimes I wondered, what about all the folks who are deconstructing their faith right now? And they need a place that's safe to ask questions. What would it look like to welcome neighbors for whom English isn't their first language? How would that change what we do on Sunday morning? What would it look like to welcome the folks worshiping online in a way that is extravagant? One of the things I think about is, extravagant welcome doesn't begin at the doors of our sanctuary. It begins in your relationships with your friends and your family and your neighbors. And when they see a kind of faith that is more inclusive than exclusive, that is more generous and accepting, they see that extravagant welcome, even if they don't know from where it comes. Say that extravagant welcome only begins at our doors. It only begins with our banners and signs. It only begins with a smile and a bulletin and a hug, if that's welcome. Those are wonderful, beautiful beginnings. But maybe it means scooting in on that pew. It's making a little extra room on the aisle. Maybe it means inviting someone to join you at coffee hour and not just saying that we have it. More importantly, it begins with the still-speaking God, the living Christ who welcomes each and every one of us, not in spite of who we are and all we've done, but because of those things which make us who we are. Welcoming people and extending hospitality doesn't end when someone walks into the church, finds a seat, and opens the bulletin. Extravagant welcome continues through follow-up and invitation and inclusion in authentic relationships. In just a moment, we're going to see a short skit to illustrate some of these sort of next steps. Next steps, but beyond welcome, good morning, we're glad you're here. So I'd like to invite Phyllis Elness to join us up front here. Phyllis is the chair of our new Extravagant Welcome team. I'd like to invite our players to come forward and take their places. While we get our stage set just so, I'll invite you to take a moment to look at the reflection questions in your bulletin. Spend just a moment, as we're doing our business up here, spend a few moments with those questions, and we'll begin in just a moment.
Thank you, Adam. Well, everything he said was so important, but I'm going to go back to that story that he had about the young man with the bushy hair up front, and the minister said, you might not remember what he says, but you'll remember what you're seeing, because we're doing a lot of what we're already doing, as we're going to show you here, but we want to encourage each of you to do one step further, because I'm one of the ones that experienced it at the beginning, where I saw a very friendly church, but hardly anybody ever spoke to me. They said, "Good morning, glad you're here," and they went on to somebody else. So let's take a look at what these guys are going to do with us, because no matter what we do on the outward to bring people in, you guys are the magnets that will bring them back if this is the way they want to do it. So let's watch a scene that I've seen time and time again. So, well, actors, take your place. I guess you're already there. Incidentally, one of our actors doesn't say much. One of our actors doesn't say much. So what we're doing is having another actor in the back reading her mind and telling us what she's thinking, okay? All right. Yeah, John, get in your place. No, come on. Right where you were. Thank you. We had a very, very short rehearsal this last week, and John wasn't able to be here. Okay, here we go.
I sure hope this turns out to be as good as the website indicated. I wonder if I'm dressed okay. Ooh, I wish I'd worn a different outfit. Well, here goes.
Good morning. I don't believe we've met.
I'm Judy.
I'm John.
Well, good morning. I'm Barbara.
Hi, I'm Judy.
I'm glad you're here this morning. Please come in and join us. And here's your bulletin. And make a name tag if you would like.
Well, that wasn't too bad. Now, where in the world am I going to sit? Oh, good. Here's a seat in the back so I can quickly leave afterwards.
Well, good morning and welcome to Hillsborough UCC. We are an open, affirming global mission. We are all Church of Christ. And we like to say, whoever you are, wherever you are in life's journey, you are welcome here. Let's all stand and greet one another with a silent peace.
May the peace of Christ be with you. Well, that was awkward. I'm definitely the outsider here. Everyone seems to enjoy each other, and they seem friendly. I wonder what it would be like to be on the inside. Would I want to be? I don't know.
Grace, was that an extravagant welcome? Does anybody have any ideas what they could have done better?
Phyllis, you need to use the microphone, please, if you want to be extravagantly welcoming.
What's some ideas some people might have that we could be more extravagant welcoming?
Sit with you.
Invite her to sit with you.
Hour?
Invite her to coffee hour.
Move to where she's sitting and sit with her.
Ah, very good. I didn't hear it, but it was very good.
It was move to where she's sitting.
Sorry, at certain ages your hearing is not as good as it used to be. Okay, well, thank you. Well, let's see a better scenario. So please, actors, take your place again, and let's back up to Adam, where Adam tells us to greet each other.
Good morning and welcome to Hillsborough UCC. We are an open and affirming global mission. We are welcoming Church of Christ. We're so glad you're here. Whoever you are, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. Please stand as you're able and greet one another with a sign of peace.
Good morning.
And peace of Christ be with you. Good morning. Good morning. I don't believe I've met you. My name is Sue. I'm Judy. Well, it's nice to meet you. Is this your first time here? Yes, it is. Oh, what caught your attention about our church that made you want to come here?
Well, I saw your signs, and so I checked online.
And what caught your eye? What made you want to come here, other than that?
You seem to be welcoming of all kinds of people.
Well, that's something that's very important to our church. Let me introduce you to a few other people. This is Nina. Nina, this is Judy.
Judy, nice to meet you. Welcome to be here.
And that's Jennifer, and that's Steve. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
Hi, Judy. Nice to have you here this morning.
Thank you so much. Judy, I'd like to have you join me after the service for coffee. We have a chance to chat and get to know more about you. Would that work?
Well, I need to leave directly today. Football playoffs.
Those are important. They really are. I hope you have an opportunity to talk another time soon. Please come back. We'd love to have you come back.
They were nice. So maybe.
Wasn't that a lot better? Thanks for your suggestions. We wrote it in anticipating you were going to say that, of course. Anyway, nothing complicated, just nice open-ended question that tells her that you're interested in finding out a little bit about her. And you don't want to go into something, you don't want to drill her with a whole bunch, but just a couple of questions, one or two questions is all you really need. And notice that both Sue and Nina, why do I keep struggling with Nina's name? I keep wanting to call her Nana. Well, that doesn't fit. Anyway, they kept using Sue's name, which then, again, personalizes it. And if it's somebody you don't know, then, of course, you're going to have to say, hi, I don't think we've met. My name is up, and then get their name, so that you can use their name when you ask a question. Now, we as a committee had planned to get together and write up a whole bunch of open-ended questions to help you out with, but Steve tells me he's got something that he can mail out to, or email out to you, so that'll be of some help to you. Okay? Now, I'm going to ask you to stand up and turn to some neighbor and greet them. And in this case, I'm hoping you're going to know their name. If you don't, you'll have to quick ask them their name. Use their name and welcome them, and use them, give them the peace of Christ, welcome them, and then ask them the question, and here's one everybody can answer. What originally brought you to this church? So whether they're new or 30 years here, they can answer that. So that you then can give them a positive response to show that you appreciated what they said. Okay? Let's do it. Stand up, greet a neighbor. I hope this cold ever goes away so my head is driving me crazy. Okay. Cut. Yeah. Okay. No. Well, I just want to tell you, let's do this every Sunday. Okay. May attention now, please.
They just needed another minute, so. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Find your seats again, please. Thank you.
Okay.
It didn't take much prodding at all.
No. Come on. Now we need to move on, please. Thank you. That was great. It took two of us to get you back into the service. So anyway, that was so wonderful. Now let's do this every Sunday so that anybody that comes to visit us knows we're also not only just a friendly church, but we're welcoming. That's the key, because you are the magnets, and remember that. So if you don't want to be a magnet, be an ambassador for this church. Either word. please look around and see if you can find somebody you don't know. Because I know even for me, being relatively new here, I went up to a gentleman and said, I don't think we've met. My name is Phyllis. What's yours? And he says, I'm Daniel. Oh, how long have you been coming? Oh, I raised my children here. And so we come back to visit. So that's okay, too. It's something to get to know somebody else a little bit better. So there's a lot of you people that I haven't met yet, so you're probably going to get attacked by me one of these days. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.